Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to your Friday night Rangers Rabble podcast. Phone in, get the calls in. With lots and lots to talk about. I'm quite sure after a rather momentous victory over in Turkey last night, which I'm sure we'll cover off most of the show tonight. Phone number you're looking for: 0141 628 7237. Martin's in the background waiting to take your call. He'll feed you through to us. And the us that I refer to tonight, I've got a stellar panel for you tonight. First of all the way from East Belfast, we've got our Stewart. Stewart, good evening, my young man. How are you?
Young man, love it. Thanks very much. I'm very well. Glad it's Friday and absolutely still smiling from last night. But I'm sure we'll go into that as the course of the show goes on. But yeah, absolutely over the moon.
Also joining us tonight, we've got, I can actually say young this time because he is young. Young Calum. Calum, how are you?
Mate, I'm amazing, honestly. Still absolutely buzzing about last night, man. You know, end of the working week, getting into the weekend, and what a win that was. So, absolutely buzzing to wire into it.
Well, for some of us, the working week finished on Tuesday because some of us were lucky enough to board the plane on Wednesday and shoot over to Istanbul for a quick business trip back in days. So I'm a wee bit tired, my voice is a bit fragile, but we'll do the best we can. And of course, tonight's podcast is brought to you by our two sponsors. Blue Unicorn Digital, if you for all your digital need, if you want websites built, Blue Unicorn's your fella to get in touch with, and also Mortgage Haven UK. That's what it says on the tin. Sorts out all your mortgage needs, all your financial stuff. So give those guys a shout, because obviously we couldn't do this without their support. So thank you very much to Blue Unicorn and Mortgage Haven. Don't forget, as I say, get your calls in 0141. See the number at the bottom of the screen there, 628 7237. So, Carl, we'll just come back to you. So, I'm thinking, as you're one of the younger guys on the Rabble, that's probably up there with Dortmund as one of the best European nights you've ever experienced as a Rangers fan.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I don't think it's quite up there with Dortmund, but definitely right up there. I mean, I wasn't expecting a good result, to be honest, so it was a really pleasant surprise, and it was just a great game to watch. The goals were brilliant. I mean, that pass for Raskin, man, oh my days, what an absolute peach. So it's probably definitely in the top 3, top 5, I'd say, for sure. Not quite number 1, but right up there, aye.
So, Stuart, talking about that pass from Raskin, is it better than Scott Allen's pass when we beat him 6-1 all those years ago when he got the pass of the century award?
I'm going to say, yeah. That was a great pass, but just the occasion last night, and surprisingly enough, when we think back of it, I think it was Dessers that knocked the ball back to him.
Yeah.
And then Raskin, pace was correct, powered. And 5 minutes earlier than that, saying it was on his bum, getting a wee bit of sort of like potential cramp treatment. So it just shows you whatever happened the few days paid off, and I think it's to our bonus that we're no Scottish Cup action this weekend.
Yep, and we'll cut across you there, Stuart. We've got Chris on the call. Chris is always a great supporter of the phone. And Chris, good evening, young man. How are you?
No, not bad, Wilf. How's yourself? How was Turkey?
It was a lot colder than I thought it would be, to be perfectly honest. I actually woke up on Thursday morning, looked out the window of my hotel room apartment. We were quite high up, and there was frost on the roof of a building. I couldn't believe it. I was stunned. I didn't think Turkey would get that cold, but no, Turkey was fabulous. I mean, it could have gone all sorts of south, but that result was just to put the tin lid on. It was absolutely fantastic. Thank you. What's your point for the boys this evening?
Basically, Wilf, what my point is about the new board. Basically, when a new board comes in, the first and foremost, obviously, we have to concentrate on the pack to get the team up to standard. But what I'm looking forward to the most is what they do to Ibrox, because Ibrox has been well overdue for years and years, especially the capacity, because we desperately need Ibrox to be bigger. Because we've been waiting for this for probably 20 years for Ibrox to be expanded, and basically the match day experience. That's what I'm looking most from the 49ers, and it's not just the 49ers, but nobody's talking about Andrew Kershaw. Also, we've got the 49ers. Andrew Kershaw is also a billionaire. And what he can offer the club. We're all talking about the 49ers, but no one's talking about Andrew and what he can do for us. That's why I get
Chris, I believe. Sorry, Chris. Yeah, I believe it's a consortium that the 49ers group are kind of heading up. But Andrew Kershaw is one of the main, reputed to be one of the main investors. Stuart, Chris makes a good point there about the upgrading of Ibrox. I mean, Ibrox was state of the art when we put the new stands in some 40, 45 years ago. Do you think there's a need to raise the capacity? And I know the answer to that question. And if it is, how do we do it?
I think that's probably our problem. There's a need for it because the season ticket waiting list point to that direction that we need them. We need it. A lot of people have said take away the big screens, fill in the corners, and then the argument was that was something to do with the wind. Some engineers on the panel might be able to get an answer for that one regarding if we fill the corners in, how does that affect the wind, which then affects the state of play on the playing surface. But apart from the corners, I don't see where we can really expand just the way it's been built. We can't go down the way, can't go. Apologies, I can't really get an answer to that one apart from build the corners in. But as I said, but that's got something to do with the wind. It's not been done before.
Chris, have you got any ideas of what they could do? I mean, would it be a case of knocking down stands? Obviously, they couldn't touch the main stand. That's a Grade 2 listed building. But what was your thoughts? Because as Stuart says, I don't think doing the corners. To be honest, I don't think it would be cost effective.
Well, basically, before the Andrew and 49ers were coming, they were basically talking about bowling upwards, something like the new camp. Basically, you can't touch the main stand because that's a listed building. But there are free stands. We can do basically what we want. So there we can basically bowl upwards like the new camp, or we can basically rip the free stands down and basically rebuild them. But the capacity of Ibrox something has to be done because across the city, they're already got 10,000 every season head start. That's seen before we kick a ball. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most is what they do to Ibrox because it's about time we see a complete revamp of even if you have to rip the freestand stood and rebuild them again. But it's not just the capacity, the match day experience. You know what Americans are like with match day. You've got to maximise Ibrox because that's one of the big ways where we can basically generate match day income. So Ibrox is vital. It's not just the stadium, but the whole overall experience. Basically, Ibrox needs to be looked at seriously. I don't know how you will what you think of the guys, but I say this has been going on for 20 years. And they already had pre-plans, the old board. They already drawn up engineers. So, and also as well, it's not just Ibrox. What I'm also looking forward to is the commercial side. The 49ers and that's what they'll bring. Because they'll open a complete new door for us. And also as well, Leeds United.
Chris, you've made some great points there, Mucker. Thanks very much for your call. What we'll do is we'll discuss. Call back in again, mate, next Friday. Nice hearing from you. And just keep watching the show when you hang up, mate. Cheers, mate. Right then.
Yeah, I think it's a great point he makes. It's one that people don't talk about that much, but you got to think about it. They always have 10,000 seats on us going into every season. It's it's a built-in financial advantage. So you think, it would be some statement, wouldn't it, if the 49ers, as soon as they come in, they start making plans for a mega Brox. It really would be a statement. But the thing is, you are also right, Stuart, like how do we practically do it? Because, you have those corners, you can maybe fill them in. You can maybe build up, but you think about all the housing around Ibrox and all that. I'd imagine it'd be kind of a nightmare getting all that done. I don't know how feasible it would be, but I think it's certainly something we'd all like to see. And I think we'd make our money off it too, because Rangers have never had problems, selling season tickets and all that, have they? So it might actually be a worthwhile investment in the end, but I think the problem is more, how do we actually do it? Is it actually feasible?
Yeah, I'm going to...
Sorry guys, can I throw something else in here? Sorry, I lost my audio there. I'm back. I missed a little bit of that. My headphones backed in there and I couldn't get the audio up on the laptop, but I'm back now. I think something I've been told, and I don't know how true it is because I'm not a structural engineer, is that we can't really go up the way because the foundations wouldn't hold it, because the foundations are obviously the current stands were put in 45 years ago, and the foundations probably wouldn't hold another tier. So it might have to be a case of demolishing it and starting again. The corners, I think that's not viable because it would cost too much given the capacity increase. But Calum, you're 100% right. What you were saying there, that they do have a 10,000 capacity start runners. That was always their game plan when they redid that midden of theirs. Let's make sure it's bigger than Ibrox. And they do have that financial head start. We do need to do something. Do you think it would be possible, Calum, for us to do what they did at Anfield and kind of build around it? And we've got another call coming in, so we'll get back to that point in a minute. Another Chris, this time from Falkirk. Chris, good evening.
Good evening, everybody. How is everybody tonight?
Aye, great, mate.
Fine, what's your point?
Right.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is. It's in regards to the Europa League and things like that. I mean, it was a good performance last night. What I'm saying, why do you think on the Thursday night we play well, we go to Europe, we play away from home, better Scotland and all these different places, we can play well and we don't look at a place, but why can't we translate that to the SPL? Why can't we, I know the football's different, I know the European side will have probably more possession, they'll come on to us a bit more and that probably suits us, but why can't we replicate and be more lethal domestically? Because we seem to be more lethal in Europe than we are domestically. Domestically, we seem to be all over the shop, and I'm more worried about away to Hearts, away to Celtic, than I am going away to Fenerbahce, away to Tottenham and things like that. And I just think there's something we're missing, and I'm just not sure what that ingredient is to translate that to the SPL.
Well then, Calum, I see you nodding away feverishly there, so...
Aye, well, I mean, the thing is, it's such a different game, isn't it? We always say that, but when Rangers play in the SPL, it's like everyone's behind the ball, and it's just such a different game that you can't even compare it, really. But what frustrates me is the boys were really fighting yesterday. You know what I mean? You could not question their passion, their intensity, their effort. That's what I want to see in the league games. I'm not expecting them to be able to play free-flowing football all the time when St Johnstone have, 11 men behind the ball. But what I want to see is the kind of sort of standards they shown yesterday. They were fighting for every ball. You know what I mean? I mean, Diomande, I think that's got to be one of his best performances at Rangers jersey. He was an absolute warrior in that midfield yesterday, winning everything, making stuff happen. But at the same time, does he do that domestically? And it's like, there's a question mark there. So, they're different games, aren't they? And I don't think you can expect them to be the same. But what I want to see is the kind of effort we show in Europe, the kind of basic prerequisites you need to play for Rangers. I want to see that more than the league, especially.
Chris, do you subscribe to the belief that some people have got on this subject, that we play better when we're the underdog? Because we go away in Europe and we're 9 times out of 10 we're the underdog.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's part of the mentality. I think that's that's ingrained in our mentality. We're better as underdogs if we play. Say for instance, FC Porto. I'd fancy us as underdogs to go and get a result. But when the pressure's on in the SPL and we go away to Tynecastle when we're meant to take the initiative and actually go and take the game to these teams. We don't do it. We struggle with it, and I think that's a mentality problem. And I don't know whether that's coming from the leadership of the club and it's filtering downwards, or where it's the dressing room, or where it's the management we've got in situ. And another thing I wanted to just see your central midfield area. Diomande, Barron, Raskin, seeing SPL. They've only got 3 goals between them, which is absolutely shocking between those central midfield players. The guy that plays for Hibs, Tresantes or something, I think he's called, I've probably butchered his name. He's a central midfield player. He's got 3 goals himself. And there's just not enough goals coming for that central area.
Yep. Well, Chris. Chris, thanks for that. I'll throw that in. Stuart, thanks for your call as always. We've got other people waiting to get through tonight, so we'll throw that point over to Stuart. Stuart, not enough goals coming from the midfield. Domestically, 3 goals between them, but there's guys at teams like Hibs get that on their own.
I get that, but teams playing Hibs and teams playing Hearts and teams playing St Mirren, they set up completely different for when either we go to town or they come into Glasgow. So I'm not that really bothered about we've not got a 15 goal a season midfielder. We're getting the goals from Dessers, Cerny, Egerman, which is fine if they can get the goals between them. I don't really mind who scores. But if I can go back to, if you don't mind, Wilf, to the stadium, I think we need to sort of let's rein it in a little bit. Right, I'm not interested in getting a 70,000 seater at the moment. See next season and the season after, I want to see a competitive football team on the pitch. When we start bringing the silverware in, then we can start talking about filling that part in and knocking that stand down and building a new stand, and let's get 62,000, 65,000. So we'll get a couple of pounds more a season than what they bring in. That's my thoughts. I want success on the pitch first before I go to a big fancy stadium again.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Success on the pitch is paramount, but it is always going to be a talking point about how we can increase the capacity at Ibrox, because there is the demand for tickets. I mean, and as you say, Stuart, success on the pitch is paramount, but the more success, the more demand there is for tickets. So the bigger a stadium we're going to need. And as you also said, we can't go down because we can't go down any further because we're too close to the Clyde and we've gone as far down as we can. So, Calum, back to the point I was making before Chris's great call there. Hypothetically, the consortium led by the 49ers group, we'll call it that, comes in and they say, right, we're going to increase the capacity of Ibrox. Do you think it would be possible, the way Ibrox is at the moment, to do what they did at Anfield and kind of build a stand behind a stand? And I'm not even sure how they. I think did they pull it forward when it was built, or I'm not quite sure exactly what they did, but do you think it would be feasible to do something like that rather than knock a stand down and then reduce capacity to increase capacity?
Well, I'll keep it quick because we've got a caller waiting. But I mean, to be honest, I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of challenges with, the fact it's got a school right in front of it, and it's got all the houses around it. I don't know. I can't really see it happening, to be honest. Them doing what they did at Anfield. I think if they were to expand it, they probably would fill in the corners. I think that's the one that kind of makes more sense to me. Or they build up. But like you're saying, Wilf, I mean, we don't know about the structural engineering and all that. I think you're probably both right that it's a bit far ahead in the future, isn't it?
Nice and concise. Jack, good evening. How are you?
How are you doing? Not bad. Yourself?
Still glowing from last night.
No. I just wanted to kind of talk about the defence. I was saying that to Martin. See, as a unit, I thought the defence was good, but see, Big Balogun, I think he's just dynamite. I mean, you see all these things on Twitter, and I think everyone talks about it. Oh, I wish we had a 27-year-old Balogun and all that. And I think to myself, how much would you need to actually pay to get a 27-year-old Balogun? You know what I mean? I just wonder what he's kind of thought of that, because I think it would cost a fortune.
Yep. Stuart Balogun is a 27-year-old. If we could get somebody like him, I mean, last night when he came on, he would have headed his granny if he had to. I don't think he lost a duel in the air when he came on after the collision between the goalkeeper and Proper. So Jack's saying, it would cost a fortune to bring in a player like him.
Absolutely, you can't really put a figure on it. To be in all fairness, because you can go and get somebody from Spain who will cost you an arm and a leg, or you just never know. You might just find one of the centre halves in Scotland, should I say, who'll probably cost us next to nothing. But because my worry now is because the takeover comes and it's in progress and the end of the season comes, all the teams that we're going to approach, they're adding an extra figure, aren't they, into what they want to sell. So it's a great point what Jack makes. You're probably looking easy to play in Scotland, because that's still our bread and butter, no matter what we do in Europe. To play in Scotland, 4.5, 5 million would probably get us a decent, good ball-winning centre-half to play alongside somebody. Do we bring in two then? Do we get a 27-year-old Balogun and a 27-year-old, 26-year-old shooter? So there's maybe 9, 10 million for two. That's my point. My answer to Jack. So hope Jack has
here's a question for you, Jack. Before we get Calum's thoughts on your great point there, would you give Balogun another season as a player?
Yeah, but I think you need to be careful, don't you? Because you know he's not going to be able to play as much. But I think it's one of the ones. I think you build the team without Balogun, but if you can keep him around, you see how you get the players that you know you're not going to play much. He's probably at that age. I don't know if he would maybe accept he's not going to play as much, but if you can keep him about, he's probably one of the leaders as well. If you forget about the actual fact he's going to play, but then the issue is with that is every time he seems to come in, he's probably our best centre half. You know what I mean? So if he's fit, then probably has the right to play. I just think when he comes on, it's just a proper defender. See defenders that like to defend. And Stewart as well last night, putting his balls in the line. Just players that want to defend. You know what I mean? I don't have enough of them. But
yeah, Jack, fantastic. Thanks for the call. As always, call back any time. It's a fantastic point. But I'll throw your point to Calum. Calum, talk to me about Liam Balogun.
I mean, it's such a brilliant point by Jack, because he's someone I've just thought for ages has not had the praises he deserves, you know. And me, myself, I've been guilty many times of just saying all these players are rubbish, get rid of all of them. But Liam Balogun has been, I think, really good for us since he's came in. You know, not to say he's not had poor games. You know, I can remember him being quite poor. The Martin Boyle hat-trick semi-final, that wasn't one of his best games, but they're really few and far between, and he's probably our most consistent defender, definitely up there. He's obviously had his injury problems, but like Jack says, he just loves to defend. And I think the best praise I can give a player like Balogun is he probably, you can let me know if I'm right here, but I'd imagine he probably wouldn't look out of place like a Walter Smith side, you know, maybe as a squad player. I think he's someone who gets what it takes to play for Rangers. And what I don't get is how Robin Propper always plays ahead of this guy too. Like, I know he's been injured quite a lot, but for me, it would be Balogun and Stewart starting centre-backs every day of the week, as injury-prone as they are, if you can get them fit. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think for me, Calum, you nailed it. It's because Balogun's always, you know, he's prone to get injured, and you've got to manage. As Jack said, you know, if you kept him, but you need to manage his minutes. You know, you need to. He couldn't, for example, it would be the Ryan Jack thing. You can't play 3 games a week; his body just won't let him. But Stewart, do you think on that subject, he'd be worth another year's contract? Because, as somebody pointed out in the comments, Davy Weir was older. He came to us at 36 and left at 42. But Davy Weir's career started later. Davy Weir started as a professional at 23, 24 years old. There's also the theory that miles on the clock matter more than age.
I'll answer the Davy Weir first. I think the type of football played at the time when Davy Weir was playing is different for what it is now. You know, it's so much faster now. I think that question would be probably better going to Balogun himself come the end of the season. How does he seriously feel? Because let's remember, he came in as number 5 backup. Then all of a sudden, you know, he's in more and more. His body's getting older, as we've said. But I don't want to point single MD out in last night's game, because I thought to a man, everybody was perfect and great. But Balogun, when he came on, he just does what Balogun does, doesn't he? Well, in recent times, he doesn't let you down. He wins because we're not the biggest team on earth, are we? So it was, you know, our defence, which sort of like goes through the air, there, drops down to there, drops down to smaller than me, and I'm small. But no, we were there last night, getting the if we couldn't get the head to it, we're getting their body to it type thing. But to answer that question the long way around, I probably would, not as a starter, but there in the squad. Somebody even to come out and do the pressers, because he's good at pressers. He talks how it is, and just put that answer to him, that question to him. Go, you've got another year in you, and I think he's a man who'll probably give an honest answer, no just to take a wage.
Aye.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that'd be cracking to have around the dressing room as well. Calum, I think he's one of those guys that the other players look. As Stewart says, he's probably one of the leadership group. The other players look up to him, and he just seems like a genuinely nice guy. I mean, the press, I don't think they're rushing out for pressers because he tends to contradict the manager a lot because he says it as it is. I don't think he contradicts Barry Ferguson because Barry doesn't try and tell us we're watching something we haven't watched. But previously he's come out, he said the exact opposite of the previous manager, which you need honesty from players. But I think it is the injury thing with him. But while we're on the subject of players, Calum, while I'm talking to you, Cyril Dessers last night, immense, absolutely immense. But then you'll get other games where Cyril Dessers can't hit his own arse. So does he get? There was a comment went through earlier on. I didn't quite catch it. Who put it in? Does he get the credit he deserves? Is he the type of guy? Should we actively look to sell him in the summer? Do we persist with him? Because let's be honest, last night he should have had a hat trick. Apart from a toenail on a shoulder, he would have had a hat trick last night.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll keep it brief by because we've got Derek waiting, heads up, right? But I don't know. I mean, he's such an anomaly, isn't he? Cyril Dessers, you go from absolutely hating him to think he's the best guy in the world and all this. Last night, he was absolutely incredible, man. I mean, that's up there with some of the best number 9 Rangers performances that I've ever seen. You've got Jose Mourinho saying he's the best, look like the best player in the world. It kind of tells its own story. I think, to be fair, right, to score 20 goals, more than 20 goals in a season twice in a row, credit where it's due for that. He's definitely not the easy on the eye, is he? But, I mean, his numbers have always been good. And I think that, it's frankly pretty important to have someone who gets goals, someone who does get quite a lot of goals and can hit 20 plus. So I actually think I probably would keep him now. If you asked me a few weeks ago, I probably would have said punt him. But no, I think he's warmed on me, but then next week I'll probably be slagging him again. So it's just the anomaly of Cyril Dessers, isn't it? Who knows?
And it's one of those nights. Every time I go to Chris, we get a call coming in. So Derek, good evening. Thanks for phoning the Rabble. What's your point for the guys tonight?
Hi, good evening, guys. Just wanted to ask you what you thought of the substitution of Dujon Sterling coming on to stop Saint Maximin. I think that's how you say his name. And going forward, if we use this formation, would you use Sterling at right centre half with where Tavernier was and put Tavernier at right wing back, or would you keep Sterling at right wing back?
There you go, Stuart. That's a fantastic call from Chris. That was a point I was from Derek. Sorry, that's a point I was going to make later on. But we'll cut right to it now. Fantastic substitution for me last night because Sir Maximin came on and he was given red van a torrid time. And a rookie manager noticed it, took him off, brought on Sterling. First thing Sterling does is he goes through St Maximin fairly to say, by the way, you're in a game. So, as Derek says, going forward, if we keep that formation, do we put Sterling at right centre back and put Tav back to right back, or do we leave it the way it was last night?
As you said, brilliant question. Thanks very much for that one, Derek. I would be, first of all, for the heads up, fantastic substitution. Now, whether it was all manager or whether Neil McCann and David Hodge saw something and he pointed in the right direction, that's what coaches do. But yeah, whoever made the decision, they all agreed on it. That was a great call. I'd be reluctant to say, let's just keep the same formation. I think we found a formation that suited everybody. Everybody looked comfortable yesterday. I thought the few things, I thought we looked fitter yesterday. So it'd be interesting to see if this is what we go with at Celtic Park. That'd be interesting. because I think that would take, as it did last night. I think that took Mourinho by surprise last night, and I think if we done something similar a week on Sunday or 2 weeks tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah, it'd be interesting. Be interesting us all to see, to stick with that formation just to see how it goes in the league. And there's no better opportunity to or no better team, or I'll say that loosely, to try that formation out with. It's pointless trying it against a Ross County or a Dundee, because they're not going to come at you the way Fenerbahce did last night. So it'll be interesting maybe on the 16th, try that at Parkhead and just see where we go with it. And that would probably give us, all of us, Derek included there, that is that a formation that we can stay with.
Mm-hmm.
Derek, if you're in the manager's ear prior to next Thursday's second leg, are you suggesting he sticks with the formation, or are you putting Taft right back and sticking Big Dujon into the back three?
I think I'd stick with Sterling out wide, because it looked like they kind of favoured getting the ball wide and just ripping crosses in. And Sterling was getting tighter to the man, so I'd maybe keep him out there. But I would also think about being flexible with it. You know, if, for example, if Maeda's up front, I might keep Sterling in there for his pace. Or if Maeda's out left, I might keep Sterling out there to match up to him. Just depends where he plays, because he's been playing up front for Celtic, hasn't he? So I'd be worried about him against Tavernier still. But I thought Tavernier was very quiet last night, which is actually a good thing, because he just did his job very well. Mm-hmm. I thought Balogun and Stewart got all the credit, but Tavernier was just really, really solid.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, thanks for a fantastic call, Derek. Absolutely wonderful point. I'll put that that second point there to our Calum. Calum, James Tavernier not getting the plaudits for last night, and to be fair, I think it happens quite a lot. There's a lot of people don't really particularly take to Tav the way he is, and they see the captain before they see the player, and I think they're two maybe different things.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think Derek summed it up pretty brilliantly. You know, I don't think he had a great game, Tavernier, but he just kind of done his job well. And I don't know, I think that centre-half role might be starting to suit him. I mean, I wouldn't say he's been playing brilliant in there, but I think he's been kind of all right. I don't think he's been too bad. I think Derek's earlier point as well, Dujon Sterling, it was a masterful sub by Barry Ferguson. I just want to say, I think his tactics really won us that game yesterday. I mean, I just thought you looked at the team and they were so organised. Like, whenever Fenerbahce had the ball, they were getting back into that back five shape. They were really compact, really organised. You know, it's the best drilled, best organised I've seen Rangers in a long, long time. And that sub was masterful. Because as you say, Sant Maximum's a tricky wee player, and he was giving Yilmaz a tough time yet. And Big Dujon Sterling, you know, showed him he was in a game, as you said. So it was great from Barry Ferguson yesterday. You know, masterful for him, really.
Yeah, no, you're right. And go back to what we were talking about before we get the last couple of calls in. Stuart, I'll go to you because nobody calls in when you're speaking. It's only when I go to Calum. Kevin Wilson saying Dessers, wow, deserves more credit for being an outstanding player last night, and he also threw in another super chat. I mean, the support of the channel from Kevin's absolutely brilliant, and he's saying, you know, we should definitely keep Dessers.
Last night I thought it was immense. And again, he gets his critics. But again, we've all been screaming out for a 20-plus goals striker season. He's gave us it. His goal last night was really good. How his first touch enabled him to take it round the keeper, but no too wide, where he still then had that opportunity to slot it home, and thankfully it did. His 1-2 with certainly for the goal, whether he meant it or not, it worked for him. We'll give him that. His 2 offsides, I think it must have been that much. I think. I think the first goal, I'd like to see a different angle for that one, for the first offside, because I don't think it. When you're looking at it from behind, I'll put my headphones on. One of the guys is saying that my audio's terrible.
Right, Stuart, while you're sorting yourself out with that, don't forget, folks, it is a phone in tonight. We've had some fantastic calls. 0141 628 7237. We'll get you get you through to Martin, who'll put you through to us. So Callum, Cyril Dessers, you know, gets a lot of flack, but I mean, the man scores goals. His performance last night, I mean, the 1-2 with Sherney for the opening goal, as Stewart says, absolutely immense. You know, for Sherney's first goal, the goal he got himself, from where I was high up in the stand, I didn't think it was over the line, but the referee gave it his watch beat, so it was over the line. And while we're talking about great balls for goals, what about Raskin's pass for the third goal?
I mean, that is probably. Can you think of a better Rangers assist than that? Because I can. I mean, what a pass. And, you know, to do it on such a big stage as well, I've seen some clips on social media where you're talking like 30, 40,000 likes of that, you know, assist. You know, it was, what an absolute peach, man. It was such a great night, wasn't it? And like you say, I mean, that first goal for Czerny was just absolutely brilliant. You're thinking he's overhit the pass, and in comes Czerny, bang. You know, we get the second goal. The first goal as well, I was like you, Wilf. I thought that was on the line. I was really convinced it wasn't going to count, but it looks like it was just over. But it was, you know, the definition of a Rizzler paper in it, wasn't it? And then the two goals he got disallowed too. Just think he probably could have had a hat trick. You know, I think the first one, I still don't know how that was offside. I don't know about you guys, but they were showing like the lines in that on the telly, and it still looked onside to me. So I don't know how that got disallowed. The second one, I can kind of see maybe that was offside, but yeah. Dessers, it was just such an incredible performance. He's had quite a few good ones in Rangers shirts, to be fair, but I think that's the pick of the bunch last night for sure.
Yeah, I think. Well, there's Kevin with a question for me, Kevin. Another super chat. This is fantastic. You're smashing it tonight, my friend. Thanks very much again. How was the stadium experience? We don't have long enough left in the show tonight for me to tell you how bad the stadium experience was last night. Let's just say the organisation's got a lot to be answered for. I'll touch on it if you don't mind, Kevin. I'll hang on to that for the last 10 minutes. I'll tell you about that. We'll maybe get time for a couple of calls. I know the call taker has to rush away in 5 minutes, so time for another couple of calls. And Kevin, I'll come back to that if you don't mind before we go. I promise I will tell you the story behind the stadium experience last night. It wasn't great, to say the least. So Stewart, second leg, no game this weekend, obviously because of the Queen's Park debacle. Some people are saying it's turned out well for us because it gives us a free weekend before Fenerbahce, who also have a free weekend. But really it hasn't, because we're unlikely to win the Europa League and we really should win the Scottish Cup, but that's a completely different discussion. The players obviously have a few days off. The manager says they'll be back in on Monday. Do you think giving them a couple of days off is the right thing to do, Stuart, or would you have them back in just to, you know, do a bit more work on Fenerbahce?
I think they deserve the reward of getting the weekend off. If the result wasn't as good as 3-1, then I would have gone back into work tomorrow. But being where it was at 3-1, I think they deserve a couple of days off, get themselves relaxed, recharge your batteries, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, absolutely hammer the tactics and the pressing, because I thought the pressing yesterday was really, really good, and that took. So that's what helped a lot. Yes, last night as well. I think looking forward to the game on Thursday. I think, I know it's an old cliche, but the first goal was very, very important, because I don't think we'd be under any illusion that Fenerbahce will come out all guns blazing. They will come flying at us from the very beginning, which could be a good thing, because if we play, as Derek mentioned, if we keep the shape and the formation that we done yesterday, and we saw the amount of gaps that opened up, it allowed us to win the ball, get the ball put forward quickly. That could fall into our side as well, our advantage. So I think we score first, tie's finished. They score first, it could be a little bit of nippy bum time when the ball comes into the box. To get it cleared and ensuring that we get it cleared far enough away that we can sort of like try and get out in time. I think last night we started to fall back a bit deeper. you must be sitting or standing in that stadium. Last night we're too far back, we're too deep. But yeah, I think Thursday, first goal, very important. If we get it, tie's over. If they get it, game's on.
Yep, 100% agree with you. Now, Calum, I'm going to throw the controversial point to you. Multiple man, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about this. I'm kind of in the same camp as them, but they need some time off. The reason they've got a free weekend is we lost a cup tie to Queen's Park. There shouldn't be any days off.
Oh, 100% agree. I'm surprised you're not fully on board with that, Wilf. I thought you would be. I mean, it's not like the tie's over. I don't think there's any reason to celebrate, yet. I mean, we've still got a huge second leg to go. I'd say absolutely no days off whatsoever. I mean, huge games still to come. It's only 3-1 up. It's far from over. Man, they got to be fully focused, training as much as they can in the lead up to that, in my opinion.
I would probably normally be of that opinion, but I think we've played an awful lot of football lately, and I think maybe I'm not particularly okay with them having been off till Monday. I probably have them in on Sunday, but then I'd have had them in the day after the Queen's Park result, and I believe they had the day off, so I'd have had them in then. I'd like to think on their days off they're looking at the opposition, they're watching tapes back. It's not like the days off in me and Stuart's day when players just went to the pub and went to the bookies on the day off. I'd like to think they're looking at videos and stuff like that. But I think multiple minds probably aren't something. However, it is a long way to Turkey. I know they didn't go with Pegasus the same as I did. They probably got a lot better treated than we were. But I think probably do deserve a bit of time off and recharge your batteries, particularly guys like Balogun, because as we've been saying, he's not getting any younger. So it is a bit of a contention. Stuart, do you think they should be in for the duration because it's their own fault they don't have a game this weekend?
No, as I said, it's a reward for them for their performance yesterday. They deserve a couple of days off, as you say, to recharge your batteries. And as you quite rightly said, we're saying a couple of days off, but I'm sure they could well be in at work watching videos. They might even rewatch the game umpteen times to pick a little bit points up of whoever you were marking. How he managed to get away from me at that time, or I could have done that. The whole idea of a bit of rewind and revision on that. But yeah, I think the boys deserve the weekend off.
There you go, multiple mum. We've got a split between my two colleagues tonight, and I'll just sit on the fence and get splinters on my arse. So there you go. So what's this from Timothy? Today off and back in tomorrow. I'd be more likely to have them in today for a kind of a rest, a cool down session, whatever they call it, then give them Saturday off. But I mean, I'm not the manager, Tim, so who knows? And there's Kevin Wilson in again. Super chat for the Rangers team and the results for the channel. And absolutely, yeah, I was going to touch on the sad events right at the end of the podcast when we lost one of our own in a tragic accident involving a motor vehicle on Wednesday in Istanbul. Obviously, our thoughts go out to his friends and family. Stuart, tragic thing to happen. It's happening all too often because if you remember, it happened in Lisbon a couple of seasons ago as well. It's that the Rangers supporter who go for the game sadly passed away.
Yeah, I think it's no fan goes to a game not expecting to come home. So it's whatever team you support, but it's one of our own. It's tragic, and obviously our thoughts go out to his family, his friends. But I don't know how much truth that there's in it. I got a message sent to me today that they've already arrested the guy that was driving the car. He's already been up in court. If that's in the UK, we're still looking for the car. Never mind the guy being up in court already. But yeah, tragic news. Absolutely tragic news. And I think the result last night, it's sort of like it could have fought in behalf of Chris. There's a performance as we did for Jimmy Bell. When we put that performance together, the players might just have threw that together. In the memory of Chris. But yeah, our hearts go out to him and the family.
Yeah, no, 100%. Just have to echo that as well. I mean, it was so horrible to hear about. Just someone going to follow his team and something like that happening. So No, 100%. Thoughts out to the family and friends, and like you say, Stuart, though, it was good that we could get a result for him and his family. So, no, 100%. Rest in peace, Christopher Potter. So horrible to hear about that, and yeah, I can only hope the guys are caught and they're brought to justice. But yeah, horrible news, wasn't it? So yeah, may rest in peace for sure.
Yeah, Calum, what I also found very heartening last night is the football family came together because there was a minute's applause on the 40th minute for Chris from the Rangers end, and a vast majority of the Turks joined in as well, which I thought was very, very heartening.
100%, yeah.
You know, and then obviously to score a goal sort of a minute later, that was quite fitting, Stuart. You know, the fact that we scored the goal as soon as the applause finished, it's just one of those little quirks that happens. But you know, I'm sure Christopher would would have enjoyed that in its own way.
Yeah, it was in a way it was meant to be, wasn't it? Then, you know, it's yeah. I'm just happy we got the result for him. As again repeating myself there, when we got the result for Jimmy Bell, so hopefully, you know, that the players done it for got it over the line, and the family, you know, they looked at him and went, no, thanks very much for that was for Chris.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully this is the last time we need to be, you know, discussing a supporter passing away on either at the game, because there was the lady that died at Ibrox at the Aberdeen game recently as well, and it's becoming, I don't know if it's becoming all too more common, or we're hearing about it now that we didn't do before. And yeah, some of the players have donated to Chris's GoFundMe. There's a GoFundMe as well to repatriate the body for funeral costs and to help the family out. You know, so if anybody's in a position to donate to that, you'll find it online. I mean, the last time I checked, it was up at something like £110,000, which is great. A well-known club sponsor put in 10 grand. Some of the players have put money in as well, which is just fantastic. You know what I mean? It's just the Rangers family coming together, and it's you know, we can't say much more than pass on the condolences to Christopher's family and friends, leaving the young kids behind, and it's just, you know, so sad. But there's no real easy way to move on for that. But we do have time for one more call if there's anybody else wanting to chat about last night's game or about the game next week or about Rangers life in general. 0141 628 7237. So just about time for one more call before I do what I promised I'd do and tell you tales about what happened in Istanbul last night. This is Mark Doyle. You always want a big name manager or someone who Scottish game? That's a very, very, very good question from Mark Stewart. So you're the man to answer the very good questions.
I knew that was coming to me. Yeah, great question. I've got my own thoughts on it. Where I always think the Americans, they like a name, don't they? They like a party whilst choking. Don't die in his mate. Not live on TV. It's not good. You're on YouTube. Don't. So where was I? Yeah, the Americans, they like a name. So I'm thinking, will they go for a name or what? Because I'm just trying to think of the money that potentially they could throw in at us to spend. Are they going to go for a Scottish, a Scottish player, but somebody who knows the Scottish game? There are no many of them about. I know folk are saying about, you know, get a job to Barry already. But I've got my thoughts on that also. And my thoughts was, let's see where he is at the end of the season. If we beat that other mob twice, and we managed to get the points down to and losing the league by say 8 or 9 single figures. He's done his harm. Is no harm in going forward for that. He's done himself good. Good run here. If he gets through to the last 8, we've got another difficult game after this. Is it Roma and Balboa? They'll be keen to get to the final because it's their home ground. But yeah, I think personally they'll go with a name, something that will get the fans excited. Who that will be, who knows? I know everybody's talking about Stevie G, but you know, I don't know. I'm going to go for a big name. They'll prefer the big name to get the attention and attraction, not only for here, but from back home in America as well. That's my thoughts.
First of all, thanks for your concern, guys. I was just choking on my water there, but I am okay. Well, while I catch my breath, Calum, do you think they'll look at a big name manager or someone that knows the Scottish game, or will they possibly bring in a big name manager as the headline? Like when we brought in Steven Gerrard, he was the name, he was the front, but it was a coaching team that basically did everything. So will they bring in a big name manager and maybe a coach that knows the Scottish game?
That's an I think it could actually be quite likely to do something like that. And you can see we've kind of tried it a wee bit with Clement, where, let's all be honest, he did have a bit of stature about him when we appointed him, winning the Belgian leagues. And then you had, Alec Ray in the background. And, obviously didn't prove that successful. But I'd have to agree with what Stuart was saying about the big name manager, because, I've seen a few clips of this guy, Parag Marathi, or whatever his name is, talking in interviews. And he does seem like a really ambitious guy. And I think, I think these San Francisco 40, obviously I don't know, but I think they're going to be ambitious, and I think they're really going to want to make something special out of Rangers and really put a lot of money into trying to make us great again, hopefully. So I think they will want a big, standout appointment. I think Stevie G could possibly be that. But yeah, I definitely agree they want a big name. Who exactly, I'm not quite sure, but I can't really see it being a Scottish manager, put it that way. I think they'll want someone who's kind of got that. You can make a brand out of them, put it that way,
And have you got a name for me, Calum?
Well, me personally, the one I've always been wanting would be Kevin Muscat. I'd really like if they brought Kevin Muscat in. I don't know if he's a big name that way, but I think he'd excite the Rangers fans, and I'd be really big on seeing him at Ibrox. So if it was down to me, it'd probably be Kevin Muscat, aye.
Well, Stuart, you got a big name manager to come in. You have time to think about it while Calum's told us his thoughts.
I don't at the moment. You're sort of like put me on the spot here. I think Muscat. I think that ship's gone, Calum. I think that's away. I think he wouldn't entertain it. But again, there's money there to be offered. I wouldn't. Don't know. I would like a Newcastle man. So would, but again, is that a big enough name? So yeah, I'm still sticking with Stevie G. Sorry, I am. I can't get away from it. And here's
we don't even have time to have that discussion, because I'll argue all day about you because he's walked away from my club once before.
Right, and this is my point. Right, this is my point about walking when he walked away. Right, he walked away with us at top of the league. Right, no his fault that the guys that came in blew it after that. However, there's folk out there that are screaming to give any type of job, whether it's an ambassador or whatever, to Graham Souness. Graham Souness done worse than what Steven Gerrard done. And that's, I'm just going to leave it there to let that sink in. Wolf's gone.
I'll be honest, Stuart, that's a good point. I never really thought of that, but that's a very, very good point, actually. I mean, the crowd were obviously singing Graham Souness' name last night, because obviously he's got history with Fenerbahce from his time at Galatasaray. But while we're on the subject of potential new managers, Jack Roberts with a super chat. Is there a reason Muscat hasn't got a big job? He gets linked every time the old firm comes up. I don't know. I mean, Calum, you floated the name Kevin Muscat. So what do you think?
I think it may well be to do with the league he's playing in. There's obviously not the same sort of media attention up there, and I think he's probably just going under the radar a wee bit. He also does seem like he's quite happy in China. He's obviously had opportunities where he probably could have got the Rangers job where he pushed for it, or maybe other jobs elsewhere. But I think he probably would take a big move like a Rangers maybe to maybe get him across again. I don't know. But I think it's kind of similar to Ange Postecoglou. No one really knew about him when he was managing in Japan and all that. Obviously, he's a massive name now, isn't he? So I think it's probably just to do with the league. I mean, who knows anything about those leagues? So you wouldn't really know of many managers in like the Chinese league or whatever. But it doesn't mean they're no good managers, And I think especially a guy like that who's played for Rangers, who, he knows kind of Scottish football. That's the one I'd go for personally.
Well, my argument to that would be Kevin Muscat played in Scottish football a long time ago, not for very long and not very well. But I get the point. He knows what it means, so I get the point. Anyway, I did promise Kevin Wilson in the super chat earlier. He did ask me about how the the stadium experience was in Turkey. Actually, once we got into the stadium and managed to get a vantage point, it was decent. The views were good. It's a decent enough stadium. Getting in was hell on earth. It was really, really bad. This is just my own personal experience. I am writing a blog about it because I do write a blog about all my European trips. That'll be out. Hopefully, I'll publish it over the weekend. Hopefully, so you can search about for that. If that's your bag, guys. Basically, they told us we had to get these mandatory buses from Taksim Square to the stadium. There was a 40-minute drive. They took us around Istanbul. It took nearly 2 hours. Then the buses containing probably the best part of 1,000 Rangers fans all arrived at the same time to go through 2 single-door entrances into a little courtyard, then into a little tunnel, then through a little thing of turnstiles. It was just horrific. Just absolutely. For me, how they get a UEFA licence for that, I've got no idea. I mean, I know, because obviously my girlfriend's a Hearts fan, I know when Hearts into Europe a couple of years ago, they were told they had to upgrade their floodlights and get new bins in their toilets to get the UEFA licence. But Fenerbahce, you get away with treating away fans like that. It's unbelievable. I mean, Stewart, I know you've done a few away trips. We were talking about that before we came live. Have you had experience of stuff like that where they treat you absolutely deplorably when you're away from home?
Yeah, I remember going to Macedonia. It's the one where we had the buses took us inside the stadium and went round the running track. And then because the violence outside was too much, and they took us in, showed us where to go, and then at the end of the game, the buses came back in round the running track, put us back in the buses, then drove out the stadium because they said it was for our own safety. But I think it was just a case of just to mess it about, really. But yeah, there were some scary moments all around Europe.
Calum, I don't know if you've done any European away trips. You can just shake your head if you haven't, or nod your head if you have. It's not, if you have or you haven't. I don't want to frighten anybody. It's not always like that. That's probably the worst one I've experienced. Possibly think it was possibly worse for me because of my daughter with me. And I know she's 21 and she's an adult, but she's still my little girl. So I was a bit concerned for her because it just takes people at the back to start pushing when you're in a crowd, and we all know what happens then. But I mean, Kevin asked the question, so it wasn't the nicest experience. I get that Rangers haven't not doing all they could do because they're promised stuff by the local authorities and it just doesn't happen. My biggest gripe was the fact that a 40-minute bus journey took 2 hours because they basically took us right around the city. We went past Galatasaray Stadium, which is the exact opposite end of the city. So anyway, Calum, have you done a European away trip? If you haven't, I'm putting you off.
No, I haven't. I would love to go on one though. Can I actually ask you, Wilf, because I'm kind of curious. They always talk about the Turkish atmospheres being like so intense and like so fierce. I kind of didn't really see that on the telly, but what was it like for you in the stadium? Did you think it was a really top atmosphere or what?
It was decent. I mean, they were decent before the game when they played that, because obviously they've got the club song and they all sung it and they waved their scarves and all that. It wasn't a threatening atmosphere. It wasn't sort of welcome to hell and all the stuff that you used to get back in the day. But I think the fact that we scored early, they were just that just put them right off. After that, I think the only time we heard them was when they scored. But again, when we are 1,500, 2,000 stuck in a corner, all we hear is us and we don't hear anything else. I mean, somebody told me that the atmosphere at Old Trafford early in the season was quite good. I never heard the end of the whole game because I'm in the corner listening to us. So, it's one of them. It's not threatening. It's not the Turkish atmosphere that it used to be. I mean, that's the second time I've been to Turkey. I was lucky enough to be in Bursaspor in 2010. And that was nothing like that. I mean, the atmosphere there was completely flat. But last night, I think us scoring early just put them. I mean, for me, we went 3-1 up. The Turks started leaving. I've never thought Turks would be like that. I would have thought they'd stick it out till the bitter end, but they never.
Wow.
Anyway, folks, that's about it from us for tonight. Thank you very much. Thanks for the calls. Some absolutely fantastic calls tonight. The calls are getting better and better every week. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to support our sponsors, Blue Unicorn and the Mortgage Haven UK. Obviously, no men's first team game this weekend, but if you are needing your Rangers fix, the women have got a Scottish Cup quarter final at Broadwood against Spartans at 2:00 on Sunday. If you're going along, I'll see you there because I'm heading along to that one. I know Stuart's not coming over for that because it's a wee bit far.
I'll give that one a miss. Sorry, mate. I'll give that one a miss.
No, that's fine. No, I fully understand that. It's a long way from East Belfast. as I say, thanks very much for the calls, the super chats as well. Absolutely fantastic. All the questions, tremendous. Calum, as always, thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, great show tonight. I thought it was brilliant. So
just fantastic show. Stuart, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Great show.
And I've just remembered the gaffer's away, so I need to finish this. So we'll speak to you again. Don't forget also, folks, we're back over the weekend. I'm not quite sure what shows we've got on because we don't have reactions and watch alongs because there isn't a game. The one show that I do know is on is Monday nights 6:30 is the women's show, and I know that because I'm on it. So if I don't see you before, we'll see you then. Good night.